We're live. Sweet. Hey,
Hi.
what's going on?
Oh, you know.
Thanks for making time to come on. It's
Wow.
it's actually been a while since we talked.
I
Uh,
know.
we we worked together like last year. Can't remember when, but it's been a few months. Has it been like 5, 6 months since we?
I think it has been. I think we were working together last like November, December.
And then we went through like the summer of 19,
Yeah.
and then we took a break. And you checked in. You told me you're still making lots of progress based on the stuff that you learned, and that made my day. So wanted to get you on because where you were when you started is where a lot of people are, and they think it's just them. So I think where you were, where you can share like where you were when you started, can serve as some inspiration, and also just tell us what like worked for you, what clicked, for you to get such awesome results.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely thought I was the only one when I was in that situation. I made every excuse under the sun. I was like, I've got weird knees and I won't be able to lose weight because I've got weird knees, like things like that. I had plateaued. Essentially, well, actually, I should maybe go back. I was an athlete my whole life, and then I stopped playing when I had an injury, and then I got into a relationship and overate and wasn't taking care of my body. I was eating a lot of foods that I am allergic to, was not paying attention to that. It was like, whatever, dairy, it's fine. It tastes great. And I put on a significant amount of weight. And before meeting you, well, I mean, I'd known you, but before working with you, I came off I started kind of going, okay, I shouldn't be eating cheese anymore and dairy and milk and things that are not making me feel good. And then I was working out a little bit, but not really, like kind of just, those 7-minute app workouts or whatever, trying to dip my toes in, and I had plateaued at a weight, and I was just convinced that I couldn't lose weight. And I remember seeing all of your Instagram posts and being like, he's just giving away information for free. Why is he telling us all of this stuff? But I think my turning point was actually working with you, because all that information, and you've said this to me before, is like that information's out there, it's available, but it's how you apply it. And that was my biggest tipping point, was actually working with you, learning how to implement, how to create routine, and also just learning that it's not such a scary world out there, and that you don't have to give up everything in order to lose weight, maintain it. And you can really like fall back into a relationship with healthy eating and indulging and working out, and it doesn't have to be something that you dread. So I know these all kind of sound like maybe like the things everybody say, but it's so crazy how different my mindset is now versus then.
Yeah, yeah. Seriously, I was thinking about that too. Like uh, the, yeah, definitely. If your mindset around all this stuff has completely shifted since we worked together, and even I'm so glad you kept up with it, and it's still stuck. That's really the most important thing, because like people, I don't think understand or maybe most programs, I guess, or most people don't appreciate how important just that maintenance aspect of it is, and you've maintained it, and that's like the biggest thing. Losing it, yeah, it's hard. It takes some work, it takes some changes, but maintaining it really shows to yourself that what you've done is now part of you, and you can maintain this, and you're confident in it going forward.
Yeah.
So, have you tried anything else before?
Like, again, like I'm in my own way, like I hadn't gone to someone professionally. I had sort of, again, like these quick hacks, 7-minute workouts, flash diet, whatever, like elimination, this and that. And I think it was you who was like, I came to you and I asked you about keto because it was all the rage of summer last year, and my roommate was doing it, and I was like, yeah, like what is this keto? And you were like, what's your favorite food? I think that was the first thing you asked me. And I was like, sushi. And you're like, okay, what do you like to drink? I was like, wine. You're like, don't do keto. Like, just don't. Like, that's just, it's not for you. And I think that was sort of, so I'd been trying to do my own things. And that was my big investment in myself, was working with you. And I was talking to my friend and I said, sure, there was a point in my life that I was spending X amount on fitness, because between you and then wanting to go to, like, I love going to boutique fitness studios, like spin studios and bar and Pilates and that kind of stuff, because I like that group element. But there was a time, that I was just investing in my fitness a lot, but I still think that is like, I'd rather do that than on anything else. And that was the big turning point, because again, it wasn't forever. It was like, hey, put this chunk of money into yourself, into your wellness, learn, get into a habit, and then you can then budget from there, or you can figure it out from there. And it was probably the smartest thing I ever did.
Glad to hear that. Okay, so what do you think took you from thinking that I can't lose any weight to actually losing like now 18 pounds and maintaining it? What are some tips that you could get people? Like, what worked for you? Strategies, any nuggets?
You know what? I'm actually laughing because what helped me again was you, because I had so many moments. I'm very needy when it comes to and neurotic when it comes to this stuff. So I've sent you so many messages being like, I ate over my calorie limit today. And I would just be like, game over, it's done. I had 2,000 calories over my limit and I'm blah. And you would be like, okay, like, what is your average for the week? Like, you would just really break things down for me and keep me grounded. And I think that was really the thing that set me apart, because before, when I tried to do it on my own, or I would kind of, even with friends, I'd have one bad day of, chocolate almonds and pizza with, whatever, and nachos and yada, whatever you can think of. And I would just, because my body is like, I'm the sensitivities to food and like the way that it kind of manifests with me, like I can feel it almost right away. And I would just feel like it's game over and nothing would change. Nothing had changed, but I was just so sure that because I had a big binge day, or I went out and had chicken wings with my friends and beer and this, that it was game over. And it was like, just having that coaching from you and saying like, look at your average of the week and maybe balance out tomorrow and meal prep and think about what you're going to eat and plan for it. I mean, even just having little things along the way, I think for me, big part of it was traveling for work, and getting those hacks of just carrying protein powder and throwing them in my coffee or in my oatmeal. I mean, small things like that, so that I wouldn't grab the banana bread or whatever else was like the quick fix and easy thing to just chow down on. And really just being more mindful about what I'm eating and what kind of foods are going to actually satiate me versus what's just like, available and quick. So those were big tipping points for me.
Awesome. That's what I consider like becoming like I don't want to use the word dieter, but like it's becoming a woke like eater. No, seriously, when you're not just eating like mindlessly and you're not just making choices mindlessly, but you're actually evaluating like you are. But even that whole process seems like it's become sort of like second nature. You're weighing like, cool, like is this what I'm gonna have now? Like, or can I have that? These are all things that you don't realize it. Like when you're talking, it just pro at it now. So
and
awesome.
Honestly, tracking like what I was eating for that whole time we were working together, I was religiously tracking everything and like incessantly, right? Because you just wanted to make sure that you had everything in there. And at first I was like, is this like, what I want to be doing all the time and constantly tracking? And then you'd kind of feel guilty and we'd fudge the numbers a little bit or whatever, just to, but then what it really did was it helped me now, because now I don't use MyFitnessPal anymore, but that's because I just know. I'm like, I know how much a chicken breast is. I know how much I have this like lactose-free yogurt that's been a game changer for me. And I know how much is, how much, and so I'm able to sort of guesstimate in a healthy way now, rather than having to just kind of have my nose down in all of that. But it was so helpful to do that for the 6 months in order to really understand it, because it isn't like you have to do it forever, but
Yeah.
that was super, super helpful.
Yeah, I always tell people that. It's like, I was telling someone this yesterday. I was like, you're driving in your car. There's a speedometer there. We suck at like knowing how fast we're going.
Yeah.
And I think that's the same way when you have awareness around your food. It's the same thing. Like using tools like this is kind of like your speedometer. It's something you can check in and be like, cool, like that's how fast I'm going or how much I'm eating. And then after a while, you get really good at it. You don't have to look it down and see that you're driving 40K every single second. But
Yeah.
first, is there anything else you think that would be helpful for people to know? I mean, in terms of like just if they're just on the fence about just getting started, and if they feel like they're stuck, that they've tried everything, nothing's gonna work.
Yeah, I know it breaks my heart, because like I know what that feels like, like I genuinely know what that feels like. But I think that that's like, it really comes down to like you being ready to invest in yourself. If you had told me to do this with you a year before I actually contacted you, I might not have been ready, and I think it just comes down to a time where it's like, start today, because a year from now you'll be like, why didn't I do this last year? I mean, honestly, like right, the way I feel now, I would have been like, oh, I should have called you like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. But I don't want to put that on myself. I have to just be like, okay, I came to you when I was ready, and when I was ready to invest in myself. You do have to really be like, okay, I'm going to put in an investment. I'm going to put in time, money, energy. I'm going to meal prep. I'm going to grocery shop. I might, and you might have to sacrifice some things, at the beginning, just to help get you in that mindset. And it really, at the end of the day, it doesn't feel like a sacrifice. It feels like a true investment in yourself, because you learn skills that way, and you're able to sort of, like plan for your life better. I don't know. I just think that you have to really do what's right for you. Like I don't love going to the gym, right? Like that's not where I shine, but I'm like, okay, you know what? I've learned so many great workouts from you, that I do use when I go to the gym, but I fill in my workouts through spin classes and Pilates classes and boxing. And then I also do my weight training, because it's really, really important. But it's about finding what's working for you. And even if you just start there, and then you kind of, get the skills that you teach and that you enforce. I think that's the thing, is like the big thing that worked for me was having your one-on-one coaching, your support, and the fact that you're really there every step of the way. That really helped me. But yeah, it just, you have to really just be willing to make that shift. And I came into it fully being like, Kia, this isn't going to work, but let's try.
And you had an open mind, and you were coachable, and it was good. You've come so far, and I'm so glad that you've maintained it all. And,
I think it's also very important to note that I live in Vancouver, BC. So I'm like, 3,000 miles away. You coached me from there. So it's not like I even had to be in the same room as you. Your accountability is terrifying. I never wanted to disappoint you. And I remember just being like, I didn't track my food. I didn't put this in. Oh my God. And you would be on me, but not in a way that was like bad, but just more like, hey, like we're doing this together and this is for you. And it didn't matter that you were in Toronto and that I was here, or if I was right next to you, I felt like you were always there. And so that's something I definitely wanted to point out.
Thanks. Well, I think that's a good place to leave it. I think everything that you said is going to be helpful for, even if it's just one person watching. But thanks for coming on, telling us about your experience. And yeah, have a good rest of the day.
I feel like I feel like you can make a drinking game out of the amount of times I've said investment in this talk.
Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we can check the comments. But yeah, thanks again for making time and coming on. It was great chatting. And
yeah, no stress. Good to see you as always.
Thanks. Keep in touch.
And well, yeah, we'll see each other soon.
All right, bye.
Okay, bye.